In addition to woodworking, I do a lot of handyman repairs and DIY, and I'm also a homeowner. And so when my old Craftsman bit the dust, I had to go ahead and bite the bullet and pick up a new one. Wasn't Craftsman's fault. I wanted to buy the exact same model, but I couldn't. So we're going to put this one together today. .2 points. This is what we got. All right, let's get right into it. This is your idiot-proof tag, and our oil goes in there. They must have shipped it with just a tiny bit of oil in it, because there's some oil on the stick. I don't like this. This is very poor engineering, in my opinion. That's just some kind of problem waiting to happen. And my other one did not have exposed wires like that. Now this is an improvement from the last gas tank that I had on the other version. It's got cotter pins on short axles going through these wheels. My last one had some pretty serious wheels on them. I certainly hope these are not hollow core. And I don't think they are. They don't sound like it. I don't see any obvious shipping damage. Try not to shove this off my work stand. Okay, you got your car wash, one that basically is high flow, 0 deflection. This is 15, so the white one must be 40. Yeah, 40 on the white. T-bolts, standard knob. Pretty. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. I'm sure y'all heard that before. On my last one, all of the connections were underneath, and that was kind of a hassle. Yeah, so you can get your hands in here and do what you got to do a lot easier. A little bit of lubrication for the O-rings. Give it a little snug push, kind of get it started. Because that's how you slice the edge of your O-rings off, is just putting that in there. The O-ring's not lined up correctly, and then you're using the mechanical advantage of a screwing mechanism, and it'll slice right through your O-ring. This is a red hose. The other one was a black hose, which mine kinked up a lot, and actually I had to replace the original hose that came with it. I had to buy an aftermarket one. I think I paid like 35 bucks for it. It got laid on top of my exhaust manifold when I was pressure washing. You know, I mean, I was at least 25 feet away, and when that hose gets twisted and twisted and twisted by rotating this handle around, you know, it can move all on its own and come into contact with the exhaust manifold. Here, see the warning? Hot. See that? What it should say is, will melt your pressure hose. What I did, and I'll do it again on this one, is I cut a piece of PVC pipe long enough to where it extends. This is a different setup, but on this one here, you can see this right here. This is where this threads onto. As you get coils and twists in this, and you're working 4 or 5 feet away, 10 feet, 20 feet away, all you got to do is move that cord all the way at the other end, and it can rotate over and just sit right against this exhaust manifold, and it will melt through it in a hurry. So what I did, and I apologize, I don't have a shorter piece, but just cut a section of this off to where when your hose is working around, it can only go, in contact with this. And so, cut you a 10-inch piece, 12 inches. And then slide this through the tube and then hook this in. And I will do that before I use this, because that's a real bummer when you're in the middle of a project and you blow a hose and then you have to order one on Amazon or drive to the store and get one if they have one. It's a hassle, Just cut a piece, stick it on there and leave it on there until your machine dies. It should come as an extra piece that's included, but it doesn't. I'll screw this one off, I guess. A little bit of a lubricant. Screw it in. Like I said, hand tighten it. Turn it on, run it, and then make sure that was needed. If it leaks, then get a tool and tighten it. Just like that, they just pop in. This is primarily my wood shop, and you get dust everywhere. But you wouldn't want to stick a bunch of sawdust or anything that might be contaminating your funnel that you may have. So I am going to kind of clean the inside of this. I paid $299 for this on sale, by the way. I'm satisfied with that. We're ready to put our oil in. It won't take all this, I'm sure, but you don't want to overfill any motor. You can damage it. You can overpressurize, blow your seals out of it. It's just not a good idea. So I'm going to put some in and let it kind of go down. Put this paper towel in here in case any of it leaks out. You have your high fill line and your low fill line. 10W30, make a note of that. That's the same oil you're going to want to continue to use in the pressure washer. And just check it like this. Oh, another thing, when you're doing this kind of stuff, you want to be on a level surface, which this is my assembly table and it is level. If you're doing it in your driveway, then you may not be on a level surface. Just find some place that's level, or if you need to use bricks and block it up, just get you a handheld level. All right, so I'm just at the lower end of the limit. Well, that could have been a dumb mistake right there. I'm gonna put about another 1.5 ounces in there. All right, so then clean off your dipstick again so that you aren't looking at the old oil. pull your funnel. I'll let it sit there for a second. So now we're right there. So I'm gonna put just a little bit more in. Start it, let it run for a minute, sit for 10 minutes, and then I'll check the oil again, let it circulate. You know, there's moving ports and, you know, all these little chambers and orifices on the inside of your engine that will be filled with oil after it runs for a little while. And then let it drain and then double check it. You might need to add some oil, you may not. I don't know. Every engine's different on the inside. It's a good idea to have paper towels around when you're doing this. All right. One more time. Hopefully this is just a hair below the high line. It's right where the very tip of my finger is. And I'm okay with that. I'd rather be a little under than over by any. You're still on the upper end of the recommended capacity at that. I am going to get this down off the table. Well, you know what? I'll go ahead and do that on camera in case I do something stupid. This really isn't all that heavy. I know I was joking around with. I don't know, I guess this is 45, 55 pounds maybe. Wish they would have redesigned that handle enclosure. I don't really care for it. Never have. It didn't work very good, in my opinion. While I'm thinking about it, you don't want to use a smaller garden hose. You want to ensure that you have good water flow at all times. And so if you don't have a larger garden hose, you should get one if you are using a pressure washer. Or if you're watching this video considering buying one, go ahead and get the larger hose at that time. There we go. All right, so here is your pull cord. Here is your wand. Here is how you do these quick disconnects. See that? Pull it, put it in. Make sure it's in. If it's not, and it's hung a little bit, and you think that it's in, as soon as you pull the trigger on that thing will go flying, and you will not find it unless you are very lucky or have a metal detector and plenty of time. Screen in there for filtering your fuel. Big tip, get the piece of plastic tubing. Piece of pipe, you can buy them from Lowe's, I think in 2-foot sections. Or you may even have, you know, a pipe off of a sink kit, you know, an under sink piping kit. You put that on here. It only takes one time, and this will melt through this, and it will blow, and you will be buying a new hose. But other than that, just make sure in the wintertime, or if there's any possibility of freezing temperatures, if you're in the middle of a job, do not leave your hose connected to this, or you will be buying a new one. There you go. Craftsman, 3100 PSI, 2.4 gallons per minute. This is your air filter cover. You're going to want to check that periodically. I just opened it up and checked it just to make sure that there was one in there, because you never know. It could get assembled and somebody that was putting the foam filters on them actually had a bad choke. For those of you that don't know, your choke is used for cold starting after you fire it up and let it run for just a few moments, you know, maybe 30 seconds. It should be more than enough. Close it, and then you got to make sure that your fuel valve is open. Go to town, folks. Then you're ready to go to town. Oh, you know what I didn't address? Is this off and on. It's on the on position. Some of these may not say off and on. They'll just have an O, or they'll have that I looking thing. So I for ignition, O for off. Remember that. I for ignition, O for off. Ethanol-free gasoline is the way to go. And I don't have any ethanol-free gasoline. Unfortunately, this is empty. There you have it, in a nutshell. Don't forget your plastic PVC tube tip. It will save you money. I have several attachments. Plug your wand in. This moves these little bristles here, and it kind of keeps everything contained inside there. But if you do get one of these, you'll figure out after just a little while, you don't have to work this thing as hard as you might think you do. If you get it to down, kind of like those guys that buff wax floors in like Walmart, it'll hover and it'll float back and forth, and it makes it a lot easier on you. So when you get one of these things, try to figure out what that feels like, and you'll save yourself a lot of unnecessary effort. So there you go. This works like a charm. It's got a port here, and it just spins at a real high rate of speed. And you just, go right over your driveway. Anything flat, obviously you're not going to use that on your car. And while we're talking about automobile settings, the black wand, I know I touched on the tips before. The black one is the one that you want to use for your automobile. Depending on how close you are to it, which one of those other tips you were using, you could damage your paint. So just be safe. Use the black one. Thanks, guys. I'm going to follow up with a review on this. Check out my other videos and subscribe.